Coming in, I thought I had like two issues I wanted to like go through, but apparently it's just one in two different places. So both you were saying? Is that something?
No, I was thinking, so it's the same pattern,
Yeah,
sort of, and
into
okay.
different.
Good.
Uh, so there's my business where I'm trying to integrate education into the business model.
Mm-hmm.
And there's the hubs, which basically is a educational entity. So its main goal should be education. So let me just choose one. So let's start with hubs because it's the weirdest place. So at hubs, the way we feel that we could add value is by teaching kids by
Mm-hmm.
doing.
Mm-hmm.
So it isn't so much about teaching; it's about learning by doing. It's
Mm-hmm.
about putting them in that. The problem we have now is that it went so incredibly well that kids are doing, and the learning is there because they have different um, knowledge areas, so they have a different expertise, so they learn from one from the other. But the main issue is I don't know how to get other people, other kids in that kind of context because they're clearly the kids we have now. They're very talented. They're extremely focused on what they want to do, and they're building a product. They're building an electric skateboard. They're marketing it. It's, we
Mm-hmm.
bought all the competition to compare it to. It's really good,
Mm-hmm.
and they're going. They're really going forward. And my fear is that we will transform this project, which was education,
Mm-hmm.
which had an educational focus. We will transform it in a tech hub or something, into a
Mm-hmm.
technology company,
Mm-hmm.
because this thing might really be successful. The product,
Mm-hmm.
and it's good for the kids. It's good for us even because it's but the problem is how do you keep the educational part in it? That's that,
Mm-hmm.
and the same kind of a problem I have in Butsy, but in kind of a different way. So in Butsy, we the business started going really good again. So numbers are up, everything is going well. Uh, Even operationally, we're moving forward. So I see week by week something that we're doing better and it's sticking. It's not just this thing we need to do this and we do it for 3 days and then we forget about it.
Mm-hmm.
It's the kind of thing that sticks. That's in,
Mm-hmm.
and that's satisfying. But and we're having kids that the kids are evolving in a way, but there's no structure to it. There's
Mm-hmm.
no, and I know I shouldn't be like a control freak about it, but there's a feeling that there is just a flow. There is just that is not us that's creating the value. It's something else. It's
Mm-hmm.
like a wave we're surfing,
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
anybody that would get on that wave, it would be the same. But we're not building value. The system we're using isn't creating value either in Budsy or in Hubs.
Okay.
The results are there. Everything is there, but
Okay.
I don't feel the.
That sounds clear.
Right.
If you did create value, how would you be able to measure it? What would be a sort of measurement of created value?
It depends if we're looking at it short term or long term. And apparently, I've been looking at it short term because long term, uh, you would measure it by the results the kids were raising, what they're getting in out of the environment. So, okay, the environment is working because it's working. The business is going well. Hubs is going well anyway. But if you take those kids and kind of set them free into the wilderness, what kind of results would they get on what they were
Yeah,
trained
that's the question. So how do you measure it?
on?
You're 6 years from now.
Yeah.
And then the hub created a whole mess of different added values in different areas you didn't even expect before, et cetera, et cetera. What's the picture?
It's projects. It's finite projects that have like a hub stamp on it,
Mm-hmm.
um, and that are probably connected one with each other. But in terms of measurement, it would be. Um, this is okay. Now it's kind of I'm getting into a different kind of a problem because it's between quantitative and quality. It's quantity or quality is like
Suppose it's both. Define it. Define any. Qualitative, quantitative, whatever comes to your mind. If 6 years from now, it's a huge success. Everybody's talking about it. It all comes from the hub, but it's really much wider. And it's measurable.
I would have to say the network, the number of hubs managing to create, because part of our mission is for us to create other similar entities.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one issue is that what we use to create hubs, to create the whole, is freedom. We don't. We let people do whatever they want, and okay, we measure some resources used. We limit some stuff just so we're safe. But basically, everybody.
Who's we?
Sorina and I.
Yeah, but what's the structure behind it?
The kids are the structure. The hub itself is managed by the kids, and that's one way they're learning.
Mm-hmm.
So
So that's the management of the structure. I mean, there's a place,
there's a place also, yeah. There's a shop. There's a shop underneath my showroom. And basically that's it. There's the place, there's the equipment we use, and then there's what they do with the equipment. And while we do that, we need to manage everything. So we need to manage the finance part, the marketing, and all that. And they're doing
Who
that.
does that?
Them, the kids.
They are.
Yeah.
They have a budget.
They have a but they own and manage their own budget.
So they have income.
They do. They're not responsible for the income though,
Ah.
yet. Until the big projects come, the income is made only like on fabrication, and they just help Sorina do that, but she's the one generating the income.
Mm-hmm.
But they're not responsible for the income, so they don't have like targets or stuff. They do have a budget.
In other words, I'm wondering. This is just a question. Okay, are you considering when you see in 6 years?
Yeah.
There's hubs like the hub.
Yeah.
How do they get their income? What's the structure, etc. Completely.
Okay.
Because or else they'll be dependent on the hub.
That's.
So what's the model that is going to be reproduced where it's completely self-sufficient? You know,
Yeah,
sort
I'm
of,
getting it.
sort of carried by working projects. In a way, I would say what permitted the previous the first hub is your professional environment, BATSI.
Mm-hmm.
So, in a way, you're creating startups that need to have their BATSI equivalents to become equivalent hubs that will manage themselves.
Yeah.
So it's like a startup creator or something like that.
Okay. Okay, I got it. So
Is that it?
yeah, it's exactly it, and it's exactly what I was missing because when I said structure, it wasn't about structure. It was about how moving forward.
Yeah.
You know, what's the next step? Okay, we got this. We got a project. Everybody's working. Everybody's okay. But what's next? You know. So exactly, I couldn't put it in words, but I was talking to Sorina yesterday, and I said, what do we do next? And she doesn't think about that very much because all she cared about is having her shop and having the kids and having this Wiz kids and doing her stuff, and she is like she's on in heaven right now. She doesn't need anything more in her life. She spends day and night there.
It sounds very clear that you're pretty much in what's going on and following it as it emerges.
Yes.
And there's no clear vision of the details in 6 years.
Yes, that's it. So that's what I'm missing right now.
So in 6 years, or who can build that vision?
That's on me.
Okay. So in 6 years, you've got 10 completely independent hubs that are running with the same complete model of the original hub, but it's reproducing. What are all the criteria of the original hub today that need to sort of be reproduced in all the others? What's the genetics?
There's three things I can think about. So there's the structure, the organizational structure, which is basically a circle. It's not difficult. What's particular about it is that we use the delegated kind of meeting process. So there's a specific way we meet, and that's kind of easy to reproduce. Second thing is the equipment.
It's the learning architecture.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. The learning architecture. Second thing we need is equipment, because the way you attract and deliver and engage is by turning ideas into things you could touch really fast, and that's a key point in this. And third is a leader. Whether it is, because that's where me and Sorina, I think we click extremely well, because she's extremely technical. She's really good technically, and I'm okay with the kind of soft skills and leadership part of it. And we will complete each other rather well. That I don't know where to find.
I'm thinking of another part. Personally, I don't know if it's one of your three, but where do the finance comes from? How's the place paid? Where does the income come from? In other words,
yeah. Well, if we're looking at this current example, we basically need any kind of space, because you don't have any specific requirements for that space, to be put up front. I don't know how Batsy did it, because for Batsy it wasn't a useful space.
Yeah. So
we're aiming for zero costs, zero fixed costs.
So you're going to squat a place.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't think it. I mean, I always thought that the place would kind of be a consequence of what we're doing. So it's I don't know. The place wasn't important for me. I don't know why, because we had it probably from the beginning or something like that. We didn't think it was, but I still think that zero fixed cost model would be okay. Would be the best. So thinking about it, it's an educational project. We're doing a lot of pro bono stuff.
So you need to have a model that attracts empty space.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, pro bono, okay, but so it's like an NGO.
It is like an NGO, yeah.
Okay? Now, an NGO may still have costs and need some income, if only through, volunteer donations, whatever support. You volunteered space from your company. You could say it's a cost for the company.
Yeah.
It could have been rented to somebody else. It
Yeah.
could be income. So it's, in a way, you're paying for it.
Yeah.
Okay? So this needs to be in the picture.
Yeah.
So as to either attract people that will give space or create enough income to pay for it.
Yes.
One way or the other.
Yeah. I was thinking about the first part before, firstly, because I feel it's for Batsy, there's an advantage of having hubs there.
In every company, but you need to make it a business model.
Yes.
In other words, what's the advantages?
Yes, I would start. Yeah, can I start jotting it down, please?
Mm-hmm. How can you sell the advantages to different companies? They could have a parking lot and wall it off and decide, okay, we'll have a space, and it becomes a local hub.
Yeah.
But it feels to me, I'm sort of insisting in this dimension, but it's because it seems there's a blind spot of everything you put in there generously, thinking is going to happen again, which it could, but you need to design it as a business model so as to target people that can do this.
Yes, completely, yeah. How to replicate Batsy support.
I understand you have equipment that was provided by Batsy.
Yes.
Okay, so that's another. Who is going to invest similarly? Either
we need to find local partners. That's so local entrepreneurs, small businesses, not big. So yeah, I need to build a profile of who would support this.
That has the tooling.
Yeah.
That has
the interest in what is done with the tools. Again, because
the internal trainer that could be technical trainers and support and so on.
Well, that's the second part, because that's where the biggest blank is. So yeah, there is an issue with financing the whole thing, but thinking about it, when we'll decide to build the hubs in another city, that moment will be after we have already proved our method.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, I don't know, 3 years from now, we say we just have 1 year of hubs. But 3 years from now, we're going to say we're 4 years into the thing, and this is what we accomplished. We have these kids in these colleges all over Europe. We have these projects already being sold. Da, 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 da.
Mm-hmm.
After we have that, I think the financing part would be rather easy to obtain.
Mm-hmm.
What I don't have no idea how to replicate is 39.
Yeah, but before that, you have people from Batsy that are part of the trainers in the technical dimension. You have old timers there that are giving a hand. No?
Yeah, I wouldn't. Yeah, you do, but it's not core, or we don't.
Not core.
Yeah, no. So main part, they're learning from each other. The kids are learning from each other. They want to do a project. They see a project and they start doing it. They internet on each other.
It's automotive tooling.
No.
Nothing from
nothing
automotive.
Okay. We're just in the electric car parts. We're intertwining. Because
so there's automotive stuff there.
There is, but it's more like I bought an electric engine, an automotive electric engine, just to start playing with it and stuff. But it's the moment they're gonna converge is maybe 7 years into the future, maybe more. But there is the obvious connection, and we're the connection between electric motors and electric cars and what's coming. It is there. I don't know. if necessarily we're gonna be focusing on automotive or not.
No, but that's your genetics.
It is. It is, and it is kind of moving that way, kind of depending on how you look at stuff. But an electric scooter is an electric skateboard is kind of something that is related to automotive. Mm. So maybe focus it on automotive. Maybe what I was running away from all along isn't that bad because there's a lot of things you could do in automotive starting now. Because up until now, you needed like a factory to build a car.
No, you don't.
You don't need
You just need a shop like yours.
Yeah.
So you're designing future local factories.
It has a nice ring to it, yeah. It has a nice ring to it, and it does click with everything that's happening like globally with the mass production of.
Yeah. Localizing of mass production.
Yep. This is a nice way to put it. Localizing mass production.
I mean, if you look at what's in your blind spot,
so
the whole Badsy heritage,
yeah,
it gives what? It gives a sort of, it could give, that's a choice, but it could give a choice of the genes, of the heritage, that you're not seeing or maybe central in the whole focus.
I'm seeing it now.
You're seeing it now.
I'm seeing it now.
In other words, all over Romania, there's a bunch of shops that are going to be out of work in 5 years unless they transform into.
And it's there's clicking all over the place, and it is actually speaking about blind spot. I realize now that the idea in hubs, so that we have this kind of unspoken rule in hubs that we won't specialize, you know, and the idea behind that, so it was me who kind of enforced that, and the idea now, thinking about it, it was we won't specialize in automotive, and that's why we wouldn't specialize at all. But the reason we wouldn't specialize in automotive is whatever the fuck I had behind in my back about automotive and my history with my dad and da. And now when I just, for the sake of the exercise, pretend I'm okay with going into automotive, everything else just makes much more sense, you know, and it's clearly.
It reminds me of what happened previously. In other words, you wanted to leave the whole company.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, sort of refuse the heritage, become really creative.
Yeah.
Do something else completely different until you meet the heritage.
Yeah. I heard the same thing. Yeah, you can't escape your heritage, apparently.
It's not necessarily escaping it is one way of looking at it. One way is liberating yourself from it, so as to think completely freely, so you can integrate it in a different way. Because obviously all the cars are going to disappear as you know them, and as your heritage knows them.
Yeah.
But in the future, anybody can buy an electric motor and a battery and put it in anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so it can be really, really creative.
Wow. Yeah. It opened a whole different. I mean, it's not even a freaking window. It's like there's so okay. So anytime this happens, I need to really focus and get into one thing into detail. So my blind spot was financing that. I need to find my profile, shops, automotive shops. How the did I not see this? It's like it's exactly what's needed. It's I don't know if it's 5 or 10 years, but it's exactly this.
You're preparing a model that is going to go all over the place. Everybody will want to take it. You almost have no choice.
And you're educating in the same time because that's the beauty of it, you know. You start really low, simple, you know, and you get more and more complex as you train your staff, and they get trained. Wow, this is really wow. And obviously it answers the other part, you
So
know,
to merge.
yeah. Wow. Okay.
Okay.
That was easy. That was what? That was like 15 minutes, 20 minutes. Um, so action plan. I need to present the model to Sorina so I can get buy-in from her.
Share it with her and work it with her. Present it. I mean, it's
Yeah.
much too early to present
Yeah,
it.
share.
Say it's a crazy thing. Here's where we may be going without knowing it. Let's build it together.
Yeah.
I mean, the action plan is still on building the model, actually. Slowly. Parts of it.
Yeah, I wouldn't go for the whole thing from the beginning because it's that kind of thing
Hmm.
you don't plan it. It's the kind of thing if you're lucky you can see it emerge, but I don't think you can plan this because there's so many things that can go wrong and
But what you have is history. What could be interesting to do is to say, what was for you day one? What did you do next? What did you do next? So what's the history of how you got to where you are today?
okay.
It's a case study.
Yeah.
Other people may do it differently, but there's a process.
Yeah.
So, in a way, it's not necessarily building the future, but it's building the foundation for that type of
Yeah.
model.
Yeah.
Because you haven't looked at the whole foundation.
Yes.
It seems to me. You looked at it, but with a blind spot. You
Mhm,
put all
mhm,
your energy
mhm,
into
mhm.
some dimensions, the learning architecture,
Mhm.
the people dimension, the soft dimension, etc., and that's really good.
Yeah. Well, what's
But as a manager or as a finance
Mm-hmm.
entrepreneur, the person is going to put the money and say there's salaries there and whatnot, and what's the future-oriented possible business model? How did it start? How much was put in to get you to the place you are, et cetera, et cetera. Could be interesting to write a history together.
Yeah.
You know, bullet points,
Mm-hmm.
dates.
And there's something concrete we can start with. And then yes, and this gives me a whole one of the other problems I had is because everybody got really specialized on the e-board, the electric board we're building right now. my marketing and finance team, they're kind of, because all the work we're doing now is technical, and the girls from marketing and finance and they were kind of not doing anything anymore. They were expecting, but this was one of my problems. I said, so now we're always going to have something like this because you're always going to have a project that you're focused on, and then you're not going to develop anything besides that project. But if we start working at developing the model itself, we can have people working on that again. And when I say working, I mean learning. That's what's important for me, is to have them work on something, have a little deliverable, a deadline and everything, so they can start really working on their skills. And this is exactly what we need. So even if we're gonna need 3 to 4 years to actually roll it out big time, we can start doing like small experiments. Because I would rather have 5 to 10 small failures in this period than have like one major success 2 years from now. And this is gonna get the ball rolling. And more importantly, and I didn't even realize this until now, it's getting me back into hubs, because I stepped out of it because of everything that's happening in Batsi, and I'm working 14-hour days, so I can't physically. But I surprised myself having the time to go to hubs and to sit, and preferring to do maybe something else. Okay, having coffee with my wife, which is equally nice or better, but I was feeling that I didn't have the drive anymore. And this perspective gives me the drive again.
You need to do maybe the same thing that you did in Badsy in the hub. In other words, what's
really,
the process?
Yeah.
What's the process? Day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, etc. What's the process? What are the structures?
Yeah.
What was the financial, in it? What's the marketing in it, etc. It's not only the building.
Yeah. That's. Can we go into another thing right now, because this is.
Should we stop this one and say okay?
Yeah.
What would be your conclusion on this one?
Well, start working on the model. So it's clear that the way I'll start with hubs, because the problem with Badsy is clearly something that will solve itself along with this one. But focusing on hubs, the way to integrate education into what we're doing right now is actually to see how we got here and try to replicate that model and start doing like these pilots. Small ones, even in Bucharest, in other parts of Bucharest, just trying to find, what clicks. Go through the history, find the bullet points that are essential for our success, then build a profile for whoever would be willing and able to support us over there, and start having small failures. I'm specifically looking for failures. I don't want any kind of success in this phase, because it's not like. So this is, and the most important part is that I'm excited about it again, and that's what actually bothered me. Right now, even if we don't do education, even if it's a complete failure, the next 3 months or what I had to work on this, again I have a good feeling. Again, I'm excited about it, and I want to be there and I want to work at it, which is something I didn't have for like a month or so. So this is my conclusion. I'm gonna go back and work on the history, get details from the history, and try to see how that fits into reality right now. And then
another part was really discuss it with your wife as a partner, because sort of say, here's what you're saying, here's a sort of synthesis of where we could we
need to work on it together, and it's gonna help now also.